Good morning. This morning I'm continuing to enjoy my little lit pottery house along with some music from Spotify. I am still working on my knitting and felting. This is my latest pair. This is a nice big bulky pair. I'm hoping it'll fit me when I get it shrunk down. I'm also going to have a pot of tea because today it is raining outside. At last, it's so nice to have rain. Our yard is just a huge weed bed because our mower is still broken and it won't be ready until next week, so it's just going to get worse and worse. I'm also working on editing some YouTube videos for you. That's what I'm doing right now. I seem to be stuck making size 6 or 7 slippers. The last 3 pair that I've finished have all been small like that. And it's very interesting to look at the butterscotch colored pair that I made. I made with the whole pixel yarn, very stiff. And then I went to all the trouble to split that pixel yarn when I made the blue pair. And they are a little floppier, but they didn't turn out a whole lot bigger. Really, not that much longer at all. Yeah, I'm a little confused about that. Of course, I mean, I use a smaller yarn, but I also use a smaller needle. I think that's my issue. I'm just flopping around like a dying fish trying to figure out what's going on. But in the end, I'm going to have a lot of good-looking slippers. They just won't all fit me, which is fine because I don't want a dozen pair of slippers. So one thing I'm doing now, I've been just scratching down notes on little scraps of paper. But today I went ahead and put all my notes from all the different slippers that I've done on one piece of paper. With some additional notes to remind myself of what seemed to work and what didn't work. I've got the felted hat pattern on the back. I may go back to hats, but then again, I don't want more than one felted hat. I really don't. So I'm happy to make felted hats, but they will have to sell, or I'll have to give them away because I'm not going to have a dozen felted hats, cute as they are. All right. So that's what's going on with the felting slippers. I have high hopes for these. I'm not wild about the color, but they are huge and floppy. I think I'm realizing that if I want a slipper that works for me, it needs to be a very big floppy slipper before it's felted. So we'll see how that does today. I'm almost halfway through the second one. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to share with you what Adam has been doing on the back deck. He's made some really wonderful improvements. In a couple of days, I am leaving to go to West Virginia to go to cooler climates yet again. I'm very excited to go see some family up there, and I'll be sure to get some footage so that I can take you along. Although I know many of you who've been on this channel for a while have seen the beautiful West Virginia countryside where my family lives up there. But if you're new, maybe you haven't seen that, and so we'll share it again. Hello, friends. Well, I go away to the mountains for a few days, and as you see, Adam has started a project. He is going to be putting this shade sail over top of our deck. Please don't even look at the weeds. Our mower has been broken for 3 weeks at least, and so the yard is appalling. But I want to show you what he's done here, and then the thing that we have to do before we can finish putting up this shady spot. So Adam bought this shade sail online, and it's a 16 foot by 20 foot. And just to remind you, my tent I had there before was only 10 by 10, and it filled the deck. So this is even bigger. It goes all the way from the eave of the back porch, over top of the deck, over top of this area, and all the way to the carport, which is really nice. It's going to be some great shade. Now, while I was gone, he built this bracing on the corner. These are 4x4 posts that he built. And let me show you, he's down at the bottom, securing it to the deck. We'd like to avoid securing things to the house, generally, if possible. He's also put a pulley system here so that we can take this shade down without having to stand up on this seating and reach out. We can just do it by unlatching it here. And he's put up a matching wooden brace on this side as well. This one was really a pain because he had to get down in the dirt in between the deck and the hot tub. All right, so, and then I'm standing underneath this thing. But as I'm sure some of you have suspected, the fig tree is slightly in the way. We really cannot put up the fourth corner of that cloth while it's still there. The corner of that cloth needs to attach to this carport somewhere around here. You can see how much that fig tree is there. We're going to have to really cut it down to this, and we wanted to do this anyway, to just the size of a shrub. These are the old, actually, yeah, this is old and dead. That's old and dead. There was a third piece that just fell over once. I think I've got a photo of Julia standing on that. That was years ago. So all of this growth, everything that's bearing now, this is all new growth. Adam's going to get out his handsaw this morning and hack all this back, and then we'll be able to put that shade cloth up. But the first thing that has to happen is I have to come out here and finish picking the figs before we cut the tree down. Adam will be fiddling with the shade cloth for a while. The place where it can bap you in the head is if you're standing on the deck right here before you go down the stairs. I can get underneath it, but he might want to make it a little bit taller. But right now I've been hauling away all these branches. There's one last big old one. The rest of the fig branches are all over here. This is how far I hauled them. And then I opened the gate because we need to take them to the big burn pile. And the big burn pile is out there. I did begin to haul some of them, but then I got tired. So I'm going to leave these here for another day. It's supposed to be, 95 degrees today. Heat index of 110. I'm not joking, that's what it was yesterday. And we started before 7 this morning, but it's been about an hour. And I'm going to go inside and take a shower, go to my studio, and crank up the air conditioning. Well, I think that's looking really good. That's a lot of shade. Okay, I'm going to try to show you how I am splitting this super chunky, single ply, almost like roving yarn. Okay. Here's my ball. I've split it into these two halves. And what I need to do is to be able to have the ball spin so that I can easily split these two. But in order for it to do that, I need for this primary yarn that's coming out to stay still and not to pull out of the ball. So I'm using a clip, you see, like that. And so I've just done one little bit. So I'm going to pull some out, and then I'm going to make sure that I secure this clip so that it holds this leader yarn really securely to other yarn, to the rest of the ball. Now, I don't want to put much pressure on that because it will split. it'll cause one or the other of these two, whichever one is weaker, it'll cause it to break off. So you don't want to pull these two. Let me have to wrap these up. And they will break at some point. Okay, so see what I'm doing? And it's going to start to spin. And I'm just holding these two at the top. I'm not really pulling on them. I'm not putting any pressure on it. They're just going to kind of naturally separate. I'm slowly moving my hands apart from each other until it gets to the bottom and it stops spinning. Okay, that's going to go back the other way. Okay, and then I'll rest it on the floor or maybe on the couch, and I'll wrap up each one of the two separate ones. Now this is, I admit this is still tedious and it's time consuming, but it is, believe me, the fastest way to do this, because the twist that is in this yarn will make it so hard to do this any other way. And plus, you know, it's kind of fun. It really is. And I think once I get good at it, I've got 4 more skeins of this to go, 4 more balls. And so, plus you can get a nice long section done in one swoop. And man, I tried to do it without doing this and just pulling it apart and dealing with the ever increasing amount of twist in the primary yarn, and it just wasn't doable. Couldn't make it work. So this was the only way. If you know a better way, feel free to tell me. All right, so I don't know if I would call that a yarn hack or not, but it seems to work for me. Maybe someday if you have some very thick and chunky roving that you need to split because it's too thick, you'll remember this little exercise. Thanks. It's early in the morning. It's too early for you to see my face, especially my hair. I'm so sorry. I'm in my jammies, but I am felting these slippers. I'm having yummy coffee from the coffee roasters that's just down the road from me, and some of Adam's wonderful cinnamon swirl bread. But I finished knitting these last night. Look how teeny they are. I put them through one felting cycle in the washer, and they were perfect size 9, but I felt like they just needed to be tightened up a little bit more. They were the right length, but they were a little tall on my foot. So I'm going to try stretching these out. Now they're still wet. They just came out of the washer from a second felt. And I'm going to try stretching them out and see if I can get them on my foot so you can see. Let me see. All right, pardon the ugly leg. See how too short they are for my foot? But we're going to try to get them on that foot. Well, it took a bit of stretching, but I got them on my feet. And now I'm going to keep them on there. I'm not going to walk around in them, because but I do want to stretch them out. Hi, Leo. Yes, hello, little kitty. I want to get them so they'll be a comfortable size 9, which is what my foot is. So that's just to show you that you can really stretch out these slippers. You have to be aggressive with them. The best thing to do is grab the slipper with one hand on the toe and with the other hand on the heel and just pull really hard.